Hello, I'm Jim Wolfenson, Chairman of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, the nation's center for the performing arts. I want to invite you to join me on an incredible journey to Alaska for our first National Symphony Orchestra American residency. "105 musicians from the National Symphony Orchestra, including their renowned music director, Mrs. Rostropovich, recently traveled to Alaska for unique music, education, and cultural exchange. We spent 2 weeks in Fairbanks and Anchorage, Naknek and Dillingham, Juneau and Point Barrow. We provided more than 200 musical activities, from workshops to master classes to full-scale concerts for everyone, including those who are hearing impaired. Share the excitement as we meet some of the thousands of children, teachers, and artists who made the National Symphony Orchestra's American residency in Alaska an unforgettable experience that we plan to bring to communities all across America."
It's inspiring to you to have somebody that you've heard, like this come to you, and I like it.
It's neat. It is really neat.
Well, we got to play with them, like sitting next to them, and then afterwards we got to we sat out in the audience and listened to them play.
The American residency in Alaska was a joint project of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts and the National Symphony Orchestra, working closely with Alaskan state and local arts agencies, schools, performing arts centers, and artists. The NSO gave school children a first-hand opportunity to see and hear how great music is made.
Many of my students were commenting on, "I want to do this again. It's not like I thought it was." All of their senses were alive, and the music sounded so different to them, and they liked the experience of being in the beautiful hall. They liked watching the instruments. They liked the production of sound.
Now, a variation is when you take a song and you change it in many different ways. 2, 3, 4. Break it down. The farmers in the depths. The farmers in the depths. Say, yo, the dairy, yo, pump it in the depths. Word.
In visits to schools from Fairbanks and Anchorage to some of Alaska's most remote communities, smaller groups of NSO musicians gave children an up-close and personal experience with music.
The artists were just magical with the kids. Their personal interaction and the quality of what they gave the kids was really great.
We'd like to play a little game, but for that game, we need a contestant. Who will it be? Okay?
I'm not a musician, but the sheer beauty of it affects even me. Even though I don't know how to do it, I can still appreciate it. And I think the kids do that too. If they're in band, if they're in orchestra, I think they appreciate it even more.
It's just fun to learn new things about how to play and just watching and learning.
These composers always
The NSO has led the way in making music accessible to patrons with disabilities, and they put that experience to use in Alaska.
I try to tell them what instruments are playing. I give them a sense of the rhythm. And of course, whenever there's words, of course, I put it into American Sign Language for them so they can get the message as well.
Sean, would you like to see how your voice looks like when it travels?
Especially with Jeff, who's deaf. He doesn't know when he makes a noise that we can hear it, and I think you really got it for the first time when he could see the screen move when he made the noise. It was great.
Let it go, take it up, that's it.
Coaching sessions with school orchestras and master classes with advanced students gave local musicians an opportunity to study with NSO artists.
First, we're all together.
You get to learn a lot about their techniques. You get to learn about them as a person, not that they're just some big musician that you see on a pedestal. They're actually real people, and that you're a real person too, and you can do it too.
whole secret of brass playing is that first attack. Sometimes if you miss that first attack, they won't even listen to the rest of what you're playing. They're going to be thinking, oh, you missed the note, you know. So try.
Even if they don't pursue a career in music, what they learn about how to work, how to organize their practice time, how to learn something, how to approach that, is something that they can transfer to any aspect of their lives, and I absolutely believe that.
During the residency, local artists performed with the orchestra, and members of the NSO explored Native Alaskan music and culture. The cultural exchange begun here will continue through activities such as commissions of new music and training sessions at the Kennedy Center for gifted music students and teachers. In educational events for adults, members of the orchestra gave pre-concert talks. And workshops for teachers explored new ways to motivate and inspire students through music.
Music can be so easily correlated with topics they're reading about in the classroom or activities. I think that if a classroom teacher is educated to use these things, it will just enhance the children's learning to read and write and to feel, to have something to write about.
I think if we throw ourselves totally into cognitive thinking kinds of things, we come up with people who are not well-rounded. And we have to think, and we have to feel, and we have to do. Those three things all have to be present, and we have to develop them in the schools.
7,000 students in one day participated with the people who are members of the orchestra. The National Symphony Orchestra went to the very tentacles of our society and proved that they were part of the nation. And it's just, you know, I sort of puddle up when I think about it.
If this orchestra is going to be a national treasure, it has to not only go overseas and represent America, as I guess it's done in the past, but also go into America and be the National Symphony to people all around. And I think the effects of the National Symphony coming to Alaska are going to continue for years. And I think any state or locality in the nation would benefit in the same way.